And do you know what? That is the big thing about systems. Systems only exist to make life easier. And if they don't make life easier, they're the wrong systems. But the thing with time management is so many people spend hours setting up their time management system. Oh, I found a great app that's going to help me with my time management. And they spend hours setting up this app. And guess what? It doesn't help them with their time management.
Firmer Figures knows your money, cuts down on strife. Time to trust your future. Firmer Figures, love your life.
The Firmer Figures Business Show is brought to you by Financial Gym Studios. Welcome to the only gym where someone else does the working out for you, where you get impartial tips and strategies in plain English to help you understand your money, love your business, and trust your future. Introducing your host, author, speaker, and creator of Firmer Figures, the cantankerous coach, Georgette Roland Osborne.
My guest today has 27 years of senior management experience with none other than McDonald's. Over an 8-year period, she worked closely with more than 14,000 managers and franchisees to develop their management and leadership skills. And through her focus on continuous improvement and system development, saved the business over $1 million in her final year. Marianne now works with ambitious 6- and 7-figure business owners who are victims of their own, often rapid success, and who are unable to extricate themselves from working in their business in order to work on it. Marianne has a reputation for being inspiring and fun-loving, and for taking an area of business that most business owners are terrified of or resentful of at best and turning it into something which is easy, enjoyable, and actually gets done. So people, if you really want to start working on your business, today's the day to start, because I am so thrilled to introduce you to my guest today, Marianne Page. Hi, Marianne.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Looking all very relaxed. See, how can someone who does systems and extricate people always look so chilled and calm?
Oh, that's me. Absolutely. I'm like the veritable swan. My little legs are padding under the surface.
Okay. See, I pictured that under the surface it was calm. To see, now you've killed the illusion. Never mind. Never mind.
Well, you know how graceful a swan is, though, Georgette.
Well, I'm not a swan, Marianne, so you've gone over my head now. Yeah, I can't help you. So here you go. So just to keep it all very chilled, so we can all get to know you a little bit better, I'll ask you some non-business questions.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they're not too personal. Just little icebreakers, and we'll go into a little bit more about you, and then basically what it is that you do and how you help others get to where you feel they can be most effective as business owners. So first of all, without sending you into therapy, if that's possible, if you had a nickname growing up, what was it and why were you called that?
What was it? Crikey, I actually can't think of it. I was called Podgy for a while.
Okay.
Because I was.
So was I.
Yeah, Mazza was actually my only nickname, and it's just obviously the shortening of Marianne. But no, I didn't. I didn't really get many nicknames at school. I went to a very small school, and all of my sisters. I've got 5 sisters, and they'd all been there before me. So by the time I arrived, it was like, oh, another page in the book. Oh, where are we going with this? Yeah, I know. But it was it was a small school, and I was a bit of a sort of big fish, and I loved sports. So I was games captain, then I was head girl. So people didn't tend to call me names.
Figured.
But
why is that?
It was great fun. I actually really loved school. Mainly because there was a lot of focus on sport and teamwork, which is, I love teamwork. I love being any sort of a leader of any sort of team. So I was in my element. It was great.
Oh, okay. So moving on to the fact that nobody probably would mess with you. How can people tell if you're annoyed or you're fed up?
Oh, my face gives everything away. I do tend to wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm not very good at hiding my emotions, which is obviously a positive and at times a challenge for me. But yeah, it definitely all comes out in my face. Yeah.
In your face. Oh, okay. No, mine's my tongue.
Oh, is it? Right.
Anyway, yeah.
I'll watch for that.
Which? You're all right, girl. You're all right. You'll be fine. I won't mess with you anyway. Apparently, you shouldn't mess with you. So you're fine. So and which famous person, doesn't have to be, well, can be male or female. Do you have a secret, or maybe not so secret, crush on? Could be romantic or just a business crush. However you interpret it.
From a pure crush, it's David Beckham. I do.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I often refer to him as the son I never had.
He's from down the road from me.
I just love everything about him. I love the fact that he made mistakes and he learned from them. I just love his warmth and generosity, and
yeah.
He's also a very, very good-looking chap. I just loved his. I'm a Manchester United fan as a sports fan, and I just loved it. Well, I was heartbroken when he left Manchester United to come to a different team. So, he's definitely my overall. From a business perspective, actually there are probably a few from a business perspective. I really like Seth Godin, but then so do a million, zillion other people. Close to home, I'm a big fan of Daniel Priestley and what he does, and the likes of Joanna Martin, Dr. Joanna Martin. I don't know if you've come across her.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it's their spirit and their determination to succeed, and their just the whole entrepreneurial spirit. I think it's fabulous.
Yeah. It's funny you say you're a Man United supporter, because I come from down the road from David Beckham, and I supported Man United, and he was like, how can you support? Because this is Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal turf. Orient.
Yes, how did
really?
that happen?
Hello? How did that happen? And when Beckham played for Man United, I was like, East London, Man United, it's okay. He made it all legitimate. It was fine. So he wasn't so hot then. That was the reason. And then, he grew and grew, and then no one, rock sunglasses. No one can rock shades the way that man can.
No.
So, yeah, I get it. I do get it.
Shame about the tattoos, but,
Well, with me, it's the voice.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't whisper sweet nothings to me. But he wouldn't need to.
Yes,
just look at
exactly.
him. He hasn't got to talk. Just stand there.
Look at him and watch him play football. That's
yeah, don't talk. Play football, look good. Perfect man. Wow. Perfect. And is there anything, and this is a funny question for you, being a systems person, but what in your life do you keep meaning to get around to that never happens or doesn't happen enough?
Oh, yeah. For me, it's all about numbers. I keep telling myself that every month I'm going to produce a really good report that has all of my key numbers in. I talk about having a business dashboard, and I do have a business dashboard, but the back end of it, the reporting of exactly where all the pennies are coming and going, not so much. I have actually just hired an assistant who is going to help me pull that together so that I get it going. Because it's just, I am a great believer in that. Do what you're really good at and get somebody else to do what they're really good at that you're not. So, don't be the amateur in your own business. And when it comes to numbers, I'm still a bit of an amateur in terms of the not the control of them. I mean, the business is doing okay, but it's more just the recording of and reporting of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is an And you can get, I mean, don't get me started, as you can imagine, because I could geek out on that for the rest of the morning.
I know.
And I actually
I'm
went
very
to bed.
conscious. I'm very conscious of who I'm talking to as I say that. It's like,
oh, yeah, be careful, Marianne. Yeah. I mean, I must admit, I went to bed. I was interviewed on something yesterday, and I afterwards I had been at Intuit for a good part of the day, and we were looking at the new developments, and I came back and I had to play with a couple. I mean, how sad is that? And I was like, oh, I didn't know he did that. Oh, let me go play. Whoa, that's going to cut like half an hour off a client. You know, so, yeah.
Yes, I do like software that helps me. I have to say, I do like software. I set up with Xero, which was a really big help, because that actually does help me to pull the reports together. It's just making myself go in to do it. That's the thing. It's not that I can't.
You can't. Yeah, it's not your thing. It's not your thing. And talking of your thing, McDonald. So how did you get to the place where you were doing the systems? I mean, did you start flipping burgers and they noticed something special about you?
Everybody starts flipping burgers. Honestly, seriously, everybody that joins the company, they spend at least a month, even if they're joining to be the vice president of marketing. They spend a month in the stores flipping burgers and serving customers.
Oh, right.
It's just part of the culture, really. But when you say, how did I get into where I'm doing systems? You actually, from day one, you're in completely immersed in systems. Everything that McDonald's do is systemized. So as a new starter, there's a system for how you're onboarded. There's a training system that says, right, you're going to do this first. Then there's a system for the task that you're going to do. So, for example, you start and on day one, they decide you're going to learn how to cook French fries. Then they teach you the process of cooking French fries, and it's all step by step, very, very. As I reflected after I left, it's all very simple, very logical, and very repeatable. And that's really what systems are all about. So I started flipping burgers, and then I became a restaurant manager within a year. And then after 18 months, the chief exec said, "Come on, you're coming into the training department." And that was where, so I joined the training department and had an absolute blast teaching managers and franchisees really how to follow the McDonald's systems. But also, what McDonald's is really good at is they take a person and they develop the person as well as the employee. So, like a 16-year-old coming in, maybe disagreed with the education system, they help them to become part of a team. They help to build their confidence as a team player, and to see the value of contributing to a team. And all the way through your career, I mean, in 27 years, I never stopped being developed. There was always at every, it's just ongoing. Development is ongoing. Training, excuse me, within the restaurants, there are two sides to the training system. So there's initial training where they teach you absolutely every role within the restaurant. And then there's ongoing training where they make sure that your skills are keeping up to standard, that they are up to date. So if there's a new way to, a new till system, a new computer at the front counter, obviously they need to then train you how to use the new computer. Or if there's a slight change to how you cook French fries, then so it's ongoing. But the development of you as a person is, for me, that's one of the biggest benefits, because I really had 4 careers within one at McDonald's. So I started as a restaurant manager. I moved into training department. They then asked me to head up start the customer services department and head it up, which was that was probably the best time of my McDonald's career. I absolutely loved that whole setting up a whole new department. It was brilliant. It was like setting up a new business. It was great. And then I moved on to run 4 different departments so it was like 4 careers within one. And they want you to constantly push you to constantly improve and develop. And that's why, people talk about how employees within McDonald's, it's very transient. People come and go, nobody stays very long. The average manager stays 20 years.
No way. Okay.
That's
amazing.
I was, at 27 years, I wasn't unusual. I wasn't like oh my God, she's still here after 27 years. There are people here I've just seen on Facebook. There's somebody who was 40 years. It's just the loyalty that they engender because they train and develop. That's what it's all about. It's they yes, they pay well, but actually a lot of people pay well. It's more that they want you to fulfill your potential. They want you to constantly improve, and they challenge you all the time to improve. So, here I am 7 years after I left, still as fiercely loyal to McDonald's as I've ever been.
So what was the trigger that made you decide to go do stuff for yourself? Or was it a gradual process of, I want to be my own boss?
What made me want to be my own boss? Well, to be honest, I was never very good at being bossed. I always, I always, I was the sort of person who I wouldn't just take orders. And McDonald's is quite a hierarchical organisation, and quite often your manager might say jump, and your answer was always meant to be how high, and I would ask why. Well, why do you want me to jump? Because actually, maybe if I hopped to the right, that might actually be better. So I was always I was always one for I knew my own mind, put it that way. So when it came to running my own business, this was just a fantastic opportunity to set something up exactly the way I wanted it to be, to surround myself. Is it similar to when I set up the customer services department within McDonald's? To be honest, I was given free rein to surround myself with the right people who'd be really good at it, to build the systems that would make it run really smoothly, like a really well-oiled machine. So I was able to take those skills into setting up my own business. And initially, like most people, I didn't actually have a team. But as the business has grown, obviously, so has the team. We're a team of 5 at the moment. Excuse me. But I love that independence. It's whatever we achieve, it's down to me. It's my work. I'm not part of something bigger than myself, which I was at McDonald's. If I achieved something within McDonald's, it was great, but it wasn't. When you're working for somebody else, you're fulfilling their dreams. This was my opportunity to create something that was mine and fulfill my own dream, fulfill my own ideal future. No boundaries, no limits, I should say. No boundaries, obviously, you have to have boundaries, but no limits. Whatever I achieve now is down to me.
Yeah. And how did the transition occur? So did you get up one morning and have an epiphany and go, today I hand in my notice?
No, it didn't work like that. One of the things that McDonald's teach you to do is to replace yourself in the business. So those 4 careers that I talked about within one, they were me developing the people who worked with me, developing the systems to a point where they didn't need me anymore and moving on. And I did that successfully, to be honest, 4 or 5 times within the business. Developed the people coming through after me, got them to a point where they were sort of pushing me out the way, and then moved on. All great, onwards and upwards, until the point where I was a little too successful at it, and there was nowhere for me to go. So McDonald's and I decided, well, maybe now's a good time to part ways. It just seemed it was like a natural.
It's me.
It was like I left them with their £1 million and
moved on.
And moved
when
on. But the thing about
go on, sorry, yeah, there's a slight delay. Yeah, go on, carry on. That's okay. So what did your business look like when you first started? So did you sort of one morning? What's the first thing you do to create that Marianne Page business?
Well, when I first started, it was I thought that I would do customer service. That had been like the one of the highlights of my career with McDonald's, and I'd been good at it, customer service. And then the more I started thinking about what I would be doing week in, week out, I thought, really, do I really just want to talk about delivering fantastic customer service for the rest of my life? No, I don't. So then I started thinking, well, what? I actually joined the Daniel Priestley's Key Person of Influence program, and I thought, okay, I'll talk. I'll have the opportunity to discuss it with a number of other people and see what flies with them. What they would really benefit from, based on what I'd learned at McDonald's. But it was really interesting because systems are just the way McDonald's work. It's just, there's no real conversation about being systemized. It just is the way McDonald's work. So I didn't actually really appreciate that other businesses didn't work like that. Other businesses aren't systemized. They sort of muddle along and often extremely successfully muddle along. But it's not systemized in the way that McDonald's is, with a system for absolutely everything in the business. And that realization was like a eureka moment for me. And I thought, right, that needs to be my focus. But there's something about the word process, however, that you say the word process and you see the shutters come down. It's like telling somebody you're an accountant.
And so you want to do finance,
Exactly.
Marianne? I want my own love. I want my own.
It's just
hello.
People sort of, how can I get away from this woman? It's just
yeah. It's only one step away from tax man.
Absolutely. And we're still. So on the Key Person of Influence program, you write a book. So I wrote my book, Process to Profit, which is everything that I knew and felt about process at the time. I'm told it's better than the E-Myth, but others have said that, not me.
Yeah, no, it is. E-Myth is very theory, and it's a great idea because it was not of its time. There wasn't anything else like that. But you kind of go into the trenches. Yeah,
E-Myth has told millions and millions of people what to do, but nobody how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that is so true.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about process is that people see it as something that they have to do in addition to their day job. It's like, on top of all this hard work, you're going to ask me to spend loads of time doing process. And what I realized is that I just went back to think about McDonald's and thought, well, why was it not difficult at McDonald's? And it is just because it's the way we do things around here. And if people can just start to think of how they are doing things now, because everybody actually has systems of some sort now, but they're just not efficient or they're just not logical. So what I say to people is, let's make the way we do things around here in your business simple, logical, and repeatable. Let's look at all of the routines that you have. You've got your daily routines, your weekly routines, your monthly routines. Let's start with those daily routines. Are they as simple as they could be? Are they logical? Do they make sense? And are they repeatable? How could we make them repeatable? And so we just work very simply through the most basic things that people are doing. And I don't know about you, but I come back to things once a year sometimes, those once a year tasks, and I'm going, even me, this is bad admission, but I'm going, oh God, how did I do that? Right, okay, back on Google. Let me YouTube it. Let's see, let's remind myself what I did. Was that the best way? I'm sure I found a better way. And all these days, there are so many tools for recording what we do. Whether we actually record it online with a video, or whether we use that, is it Jing that to annotate a document or a record, or just even an email, something that would say some way of saying, this is the simplest way to do this. I remember this is the simplest way. And even as one-man bands, we can start doing that. Because what I found when I was going into businesses was that these really successful businesses had started off as one-man bands, or with a very small team where everybody knows what they're doing because it's just a small team and everybody's communicating and talking to one another, or each of the four people has their own role and they don't cross over, so they don't need to know each other's roles. As soon as you become more successful and the team grows, you need a way of making it consistent, making what you do consistent, so that person one in that team of four is passing down a consistent way of doing what they do to the new people coming through. Because that's when all the problems start. That's when things fall apart. Is the team just gets bigger, and then everybody is doing things in their own way. There's no uniform practice across the team.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I systemized when I was all by myself. I was so sad.
Oh,
I had all these systems. I just had all these little systems. But the funny thing was, and when I was reading your book, I thought, oh my gosh, that is so true, was that I found I just got quicker. And when so I'm dumping accounting, I'm going to go into bookkeeping side because I'm nosy. And bookkeeping, you're on the pulse every day.
Absolutely.
With accounting, it's analysis and talking about tax laws, and even I do that. But with the bookkeeping, you're like, whoa, last 3 weeks, look how that has sold. And it's a very different relationship and conversation. But it's a time suck, big time, because you're constantly having to put these figures in. And then and it's not even the particular task. If you're a service-based business, that task, even though it's the same task, it varies from customer to customer to customer. But there are still commonalities. And we're an arrogant bunch, financial people. We know what we don't need. And so I thought I'd go to India and to the Philippines, because they do what you tell them. But they do what you tell them, but sometimes it does require you to just have a decision-making process as well, where the system is only as good sometimes as how qualified the person is, or is willing to take a little. So you can systemize free, but as great it is flipping burgers, you're not going to do it if you've only got thumbs. You've got to start with something. And so I just went through all these different transitions and then working it out. But actually starting from doing it by myself, by the time people came on board, the only thing that changed was I did it all. It was all checklists. And then I discovered it said Jing. Mine was another screen cast in video product. So I'd be doing something in Sage or QuickBooks or somehow, and I go, oh my gosh, I've got to video it. So then when I give it to Jane, watch the video. Because what was happening was certain people, I actually used to get rid of people because I didn't watch the videos. And I know you haven't watched that video. Because their head says, I know what I'm doing. I haven't got time for that. Do you not want to get this done? So a lot of my subcontractors actually made good money out of me, because I showed them how to do things so much quicker. And I'd say, well, I don't do hourly rates either. They get a fee. So if they've done it in an hour and I'm paying them for 4, they've made a killing.
Fantastic, yeah.
And I made it, happen, because I know what my outgoing is for them. I just want the job done. The quickest way we can do it, and that's why I'm so against hourly rates, because it just kills efficiency. I just want I wanted to keep tweaking. I kept tweaking things, make it faster, but still get it done, and then hand it out. Now I still haven't mastered it, because after reading your book, I'm thinking still got a long way to go, George. But the trick is, if you do it when you're by yourself, then when you're bringing people on, it's nowhere near scary. You don't go through half of the stress and the headaches. And then what happens is people, as you will know, it goes wrong and they go back to doing it all by themselves again. Because at least when I'm doing it myself, I know where I am.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to go back to that.
It's so true. In fact, it's not scary at all if you do it when you're by yourself, because you don't bring on 5 people at once, rarely, unless you've really rocketed to success. You don't bring on 5 people at once. You bring them on one at a time. And each person you bring on, you hand over a bit of your workload, but you've already got your videos prepared, or your we talk about how-to documents, which are just simply step by step how to do something. But also we talk about giving people the reason why they do it, why you want them to do it this way. Because like exactly as you're saying, some people go, I know a better way to do that, or I know what I'm doing, I'm just going to get... No, this is why we do it this way. This is why we want you to follow this particular process. And then people tend to, if they're the right people, they tend to buy into that. And then you get that consistent way of doing everything within your business. And that's all process is. It's just making things uniform and consistent. And I do talk a lot about simple, logical, and repeatable, because if you can achieve that in your business, then all of your team are able to take ownership. You know, they don't need you to check up on them. Yes, they need you to check in with them, because feedback never... You should always be giving feedback. You know, whether it's appreciative or constructive feedback. Feedback is really important to people. Even your best people, just to be told that they've done a good job keeps them doing a good job. If you, some people make the mistake of thinking, well, I don't need to tell my best person that they're great, or that they're my best person, because, well, they know. And actually, no, they don't know. Tell them. It's like your other half knows that you love them. Actually, I
was thinking that. Do you love me? But you know I do. Yeah.
Yes.
That's me.
You still need to say it. And the other thing, the big thing on feedback, because one of our, there are 4 foundations in this McFreedom system that I talk about, and one of the most important is that whole performance management. And performance management is all about feedback, ongoing day-to-day feedback, and then more formal feedback. But with the ongoing day-to-day, a lot of business owners are great at the negative feedback. Oh my God, you did that wrong. I'm going to have to do it myself now. And that's it. Rather than, it's not quite right. What I wanted you to do was this, this, and this. How about you do it right? You know, it's the difference between negative and constructive feedback is, it's a paper width apart in some ways, but it makes a whole heap of difference if you tell somebody what you want them to do right, how you want them to do something right next time. But it's, the whole managing people thing, an awful lot of people shy away from employing, or even having, people off ELANs, outsourcers, because they just want to keep control. They know what they're doing. They know that they're good at what they're doing, and they see managing people as a real pain. Whereas I always see managing people as the joy in running a business. It's, for me, it's the involvement with other people to achieve an end goal is a really important piece of the puzzle for me in terms of running and growing a business. And you can't actually really grow a business without people. Even those one-man bands are all working with other people. It's in some form or another. You know, we all have to work with people to grow and develop our businesses. The people point is really important.
So to nail your feet to the floor now. At McDonald's, of course, as you say, you've got the right people. They've got the right attitude, obviously within reason. How did they update those processes? Is it like one poor man in the process department who went around with his clipboard, or is it a buy-in? Is there is it the head of department who comes with their idea of how we should, or is it everybody in the company has a say? And then what was this process? Why I ask, so to give you some context, I am that business owner you're talking about. One, I'm just about maybe got the right people. You've said the word process. I'm over my head. I actually put my head on the desk and just cried. I thought, I can't, no, Marianne, go away. I can't do this. But in my gut, I know that somewhere in that, at the end of that tunnel, you can change my life. But I'm worried that I start this process now, and I put these things in place, and we know that processes are ever evolving. Half the processes I wrote for how to do bookkeeping have completely changed now because we've moved from desktop to online. They're obsolete. So it's not even tweaking, it's throwing it out, almost starting again. That's a job. So if I'm going to go down that route, do I have to keep dipping in and keep doing that? How do I, because I'm meant to be extricating myself now, move from being the service provider, the doer, to a process provider. Which it's even worse because I'm not even making my widgets now. Now I'm doing lists. Come on, Marianne. Come on. So how did McDonald's do it? Bearing in mind they're a multinational PLC, and how does that translate to a small person trying to do the same thing once they've made that decision to follow your?
Okay. Well, the thing that everybody needs to remember is that it is that you're on a cycle of continuous improvement, if you like, and then where it starts is actually with your planning. So in any given period, there should be a plan working. I mean, I'm a big believer in 90-day goals, but actually having a 3-year plan and a yearly plan that those 90-day goals lead into. Now, every 90 days, at least every 90 days, everybody involved in a business, and if that's, if it's just you as a one-man band, or if it's you and an assistant, then you come together. You've got to start getting a rhythm into your business. And part of that rhythm is to review what's changed, what's moved forward, what needs to be course corrected, if you like. So on a 90-day basis, you would put, one of your reviews would be, okay, what's changed in our business? And let's get the how-to document, let's get the process for that task corrected over the next 90 days. It doesn't have to be, it's just one of the tasks on your to-do list. It doesn't have to be like oh my God, process. I need to look at all my processes. This is a build it up slowly. Start with those daily routines. Start with those daily, then weekly, then monthly, then quarterly routines to get these how-to documents, to get these videos, whatever, in place. If something changes, the process doesn't have to be done, oh my God, I've got to, it's not, everything isn't changing at once. Mm-hmm. So it's a simple thing to set yourself one a month, change a how-to document if there's, if something has changed within your business. Can you give me an example of something that might change in your business, Georgette?
One of the big ones was onboarding clients, right? And okay, this has changed now as well, but I used to send them all stamped addressed envelopes and literally just shove all your papers. So instead of to the accountant at the end of the year, they were just shoving it in. I became the go-between. So you just throw it all into me, and then so there was a process for that. So I would send them a list of all the things that they needed to send me. And what I worked out was the customer would look at it and they'd think, this is great, but actually I've just given them a whole lot more work because they're now overwhelmed with all of these things. So then what I started to do it in stages. So now what I need you to do is send me this. And we would start with that. We'd start with the bankings and then we'd start with this. And that was fine. And then we all moved online. Well, I moved everybody online. Some of them were desktop, but, I went to a conference the other day and someone said, they won't move. Then they go, we're moving into the cloud now. You want to work with me? Cloud.
Yes.
But then you show them all the things that they can do and so on. But then that brought a whole new, I was going into all these things that the other bookkeepers would have. And they just became irrelevant. Step by step by step. So I just looked at it because I've got a project management system, and I just looked at it and thought, I'm going to have to go through all of these and make all these changes. But listening to you now saying, pick one, make all these changes. So I didn't. I would just wait until something looked like it was going to go wrong, and then quickly, or it went wrong, and then I better fix that. There was no rhythm there at all. So even though I'd got them in place, so when I say, I'm speaking from personal experience, it is a good intention, but it's just when you're faced with this, you've got all these clients, all these processes. It's not just within processes for my business internally. It's processes for how I deal with people externally. I'm sure everybody does, but externally. But dealing with people externally is the business. And so you've got to keep keeping up with it. And so that's where I didn't have a system for keeping up with the system.
You're actually incredibly hard on yourself, because actually everything you've just said, apart from the bit where you waited for it to go wrong before you changed it, all of the rest of it is actually really good stuff, and you're way ahead of what an awful lot of people would do. They would just like bury their head in the sand and not do anything at all until all of it went wrong. But it is, if you're working on your own, obviously it's slightly harder work, because you do any changes that you make, you have to make. If there's anything that you can outsource or delegate, then obviously my first suggestion would be to do that, because it's not best use of your time. But if you are entirely on your own, then it is just getting into that rhythm of, slowly catchy monkey, just one a week. Every Friday afternoon at 3:00, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to change that bit. Next Friday I'm going to do that bit. Next Friday I'm going to do that bit, just to get it done, and to, you're a spreadsheet person, clearly. So, all right.
Oh, no. That's the dark ages, Marianne. I'm telling people, get rid of the spreadsheet and move into the 21st century. Actually, but to be honest, I do nerd out on spreadsheets.
It was only when you said you have your
for my personal
project
use.
Management system. When I think project management, I always think of Microsoft Project, and honestly, I could get ahead
I know.
just seeing the words Microsoft Project.
Now, you see, we're a bad adverts. You've got two systems people who are both sitting there going, oh, no, not project. Do you know that? I thought that's what project. I was so excited to learn this thing. I gave up. It was hell on earth. But now when you've got things like Basecamp and Asana and Teamwork, they're a joy. Yeah. They're not. I wouldn't want to spend my Friday nights playing with them. But
they get the job. They help you not to have to play with them on a Friday night. Yes.
They get the job done. You log in. This is it. Tick it when you've done. What joy! I mean, there's more in my checklist.
And do you know what? That is the big thing about systems. Systems only exist to make life easier, and if they don't make life easier, they're the wrong systems. That's the thing. There is no point in having something that actually is a job in itself, which, in my opinion, Microsoft Project was just a job. You needed a whole person just to manage Microsoft Project.
Gosh, you brought me out of cold sweat, Marianne, just remembering that software.
It just didn't make anybody's life easier. And things like Basecamp and Asana, they actually do. They make life easier, so they're good systems. But this is personal preference. I just love checklists and to-do lists and really simple stuff that actually works, because so many people, I used to talk a lot about time management when I was first starting out, because everybody struggles with time management, so they say. But the thing with time management is so many people spend hours setting up their time management system. I found a great app that's going to help me with my time management. And they spend hours setting up this app, and guess what? It doesn't help them with their time management.
No, because they forget to log in, they forget to go in.
It is all about routine and discipline and developing those success habits. So on a daily basis, I'll set up my day in chunks. So, and I must just like the number 90, because I love 90-minute chunks, and I will work on something for 90 minutes, and then I'll take a 15-minute break, or I'll actually, now I've got the puppy with me, I'll take her out for 45 minutes twice a day, and then I'll move on to the next 90 minutes, and just keeping that focus. Getting rid of distractions. Those are the sort of thing, switching off email notifications. You really don't need to know every second what email's coming through.
What is, I mean,
And managing your day in that way enables you to build that rhythm, to get that, to, you know, get those routines. You know, this is what my day looks like. And okay, you know, obviously sometimes you've got to go out to a meeting or whatever, so your routine changes. But if you've got, at least if you've got a routine to come back to, that's your solid place, if you like, your routine for your day, your week, your month, things that you do without fail. And if one of those things for the next 90 days, if a 90-day goal is every Friday afternoon, I'm going to update a process. I'm going to update something that I do that's going to make my business run more smoothly, that's going to prevent problems. So like in the example that you gave, you've got a number of tasks relating to your clients that need to be updated. So just plan them out in a 90-day, this is what I'm going to do in the next 90 days. I'm going to resolve all of these little tasks one at a time.
Yeah. Actually, you've just given me, because I've got loads of little tutorial videos to do, not necessarily for clients, I mean, they'll see them, but just in general. And I have a habit of, oh, that's a great idea, I'll do that. Or someone had a problem with that. I had a customer that struggling with how to keep track of their cash till and staff theft and stock and so on, because I end up getting involved in all of these things. So I know exactly how to do it. And I was going to do this long email. I thought, no, that's a video, isn't it? But they become little Post-its all over the place. And then so I actually said, I've got to stop with all these ideas and just knuckle down and start doing them and recording them. So as you say that, I think, maybe on a Thursday afternoon, I take out the next lot and thanks, Marianne.
Excellent. So Thursday afternoon become your post-it resolution afternoon.
Yeah. Ready? Yeah. I can actually throw one in the bin rather than have another one pinned on the wall. There you go. There are all these. Yeah, but the problem is just stop having all these ideas. I'm going to shut off not even notifications. No more reading. No more subscriptions. No more anything. Just get on with the work. So just say someone wants to start the process now and they're listening to you. You know how specific you can get. What sort of one task that they can decide, right, if I do this, I'm going to set aside tomorrow to look into becoming a process-driven business. You said look at your daily things, your weekly, but what is one sort of a specific area? Maybe we've talked about email, for example. Sort of one thing that you can say you can get a quick win with that.
The quick win for me would actually be to write the list of daily routines. It would be to look at things that. I mean, there's one task that I would say everybody should do, and that is to write down everything they think they have to do in the coming week. And I mean absolutely everything. So personal stuff, personal stuff, work stuff, client related, whatever. Get it all down in a big list, and then actually go back through it and look at anything, cross off anything that doesn't move their business forward. That's just maybe it's somebody else's priority. You know how people can just sort of foist stuff onto you, and say, oh, I really should do that. Well, why should you do it? Because you feel guilty because of the person who gave it to you? Is it because you've always done it, or you got yourself into this corner where you felt you had to do it? And there's lots on that big list. There'll be lots of, oh, I must, I should, I have to. Cross them all off, and then go back through it and look for anything that you could give away to somebody else. You know, whether outsource it or delegate it if you've got somebody in the team that could take something on, and then you're left with just those things that only you can do that move your business forward. And I call it the do, ditch or delegate list. And you'd be amazed at the number of things that you feel that you've got to do in a week that actually could just be crossed off, that you don't actually have to do. You're doing them because, I don't know, maybe you think they'll make you look good, you've always done them, You feel guilty because it's related to family or friends, but actually they're not really important to you. You know, they're not going to help you to move your business forward towards your ideal future. Because at the end of the day, you know, we've all got some sort of ideal future, and maybe we haven't clarified it in our minds. Maybe we should, but we've all got some ideal future. And we know what that looks like, and we know, you know, it may involve having great relationships with our family. It may involve having financial freedom so that, you know, we can only work. We just have to work 1 day a week, or we don't have to work at all. We've sold our business. Whatever that ideal future looks like, everything we do on a daily basis takes us either away from that ideal future or towards it. So if your ideal future is, I mean, I don't have children, but if my ideal future was that I had a great relationship with my children, and I decided that I was just going to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not take the time on a daily basis to spend time with my children, I'm not going to have that great relationship in the future. If I want to be systemized, have a fully systemized business in the future that will sell, because that's, you know, systemized businesses grow better, sell better, scale better, can be franchised. So if I want to have a fully systemized business, then creating a system today will help me. So you know, that big list, that do, ditch or delegate list would be a starting point. Just look at all of the things that actually shouldn't be on your to-do list at all and get rid of them.
Vacuuming. Anyway, and talking of your dream life, what is it you see yourself or you're aiming to be doing over the next couple of years, whether it be in this business, you know, how do you see yourself as Marianne?
Well, the business is I've got a new book coming out. I've got a shameless plug here. I've got a new book.
Go for it. What's it called?
Simple, Logical, Repeatable.
Okay.
And it's all about the McFreedom system and how the McFreedom system can actually give each of us as business owners the freedom to scale, grow, sell, or franchise your business, or run it from a beach somewhere. You know, that's that whole freedom to choose. And obviously that's what I want for myself. We're looking at a franchising model for the McFreedom system. You know, this is further down the line. I'm actually just really enjoying being involved with the business owners myself, and just seeing, you know, there's one particular guy, he's such a lovely guy, but he came to me because he wanted to sell his business. And we've been working together on the McFreedom system for a few months now. And he said, I've fallen back in love with my business. I don't want to sell it anymore. I just want to grow it. Wow. and it's that sort of thing. Honestly, it makes my heart sing. I love that interaction with people and helping them to be the best they can be, to watch them fulfill their potential. Because so many business owners are just stuck working ridiculously long hours, feeling stressed, hating the fact that, you know, they've got this success, but actually they've got no time to spend all the money they're making. They just, you know, their business is running their life rather than them running their business. So, you know, I definitely, the next few years, I personally want to help as many business owners as I can. And then longer term, to develop this whole franchising system so that we can head off globally. Because at the minute we're pretty much UK based. And I've got big plans for getting this out to the world. It's you know. We're building lives here. The business is key to supporting that
vehicle,
life.
Yeah.
But we forget. We focus so hard on the business, we forget that we're building a life, and that's what I want to I want to get that message out there.
Actually, you know, it makes me laugh as I'm listening to you, because on one hand, we're all trying to help people in one way or another, whatever our business is, especially if you're service based, to help other business people find time freedom, money freedom, space in the day, whatever it is, to be more efficient. But however it is, we're trying to give them back something that they're struggling to find. So, and then we'll talk about how we want to create freedom. But then, even as you were doing it, and I do it, listen to most entrepreneurs when they speak, the more they speak, you can actually hear them becoming busier and busier and busier because they're getting excited. And you suddenly thought, so where's the beach? The beach is not going to figure any place. One of my ladies said to me one day, she said, oh, as you get older, because she's in her 60s and she's been working for me forever. And she said, as you get older, darling, you won't be this, you want to slow down. And I thought, I'm going to die in the trenches. I talk about the freedom thing because it's a choice. But when given the choice, we just fill it with something else. But it's the something else you fill it with is now what makes it, as you said, makes your heart sing rather than the things you feel you should do. So as you were talking, I thought, oh my gosh, she's so articulating what I hear all the time. It's sort of like we talk ourselves into freedom and then talk ourselves right back out of it again because it's not exciting enough just to be free. Yeah. We're not making a difference.
But at least we have the choice. That's the thing. We've got the choice to do these different things.
I know.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, Marianne, because that's me, my naivety, I love the McFreedom thing. So when you become that billionaire, won't McDonald want to come along and want a piece because you've got your little Mc in freedom? They want their little share. Said without us, Marianne.
No, because happily the McFreedom system is modelled on what I learned, but it's also there's a very definite input from all of the small businesses that I've worked with. So. You wouldn't go into any McDonald's and find them talking about the McFreedom system or the 4 foundations of the McFreedom system.
I know, I'm pulling your leg.
No, but it is true though. It's like McDonald's are very hot on the Mc.
That's what I was thinking. I thought, ooh. Let me just double check. But I know because I know you enough to know that you would have been hot on that anyway, so that wouldn't even have been an issue. But for just people listening and thinking, hello, thought we clarify. Oh, so how do people learn more about you? Where do they go and find you in the world, Marianne?
Well, they can. Oh, I'd love them to come and join me on the McFreedom Secrets Workshop. Okay. That would be fabulous because that's where we introduce them to the 4 foundations that can really help them in their business. Mm-hmm. So planning, process, people, and performance. So they can come and join me on the McFreedom Secrets Workshop, or they can definitely give me a call and have a conversation with me. Talk about their struggles. Talk about if there's some way that I can help them get some strategy around systemizing the business because it's much easier than people think, but it's like anything in business. You've got to know the easy ways. Yeah. You've got to know the shortcut. Like you were saying with your guys, you always find the easiest route through. And you want to share that, and that's really what I would love to do. So,
what's the website?
My website is bright7.co.uk. That's the bright with the number 7.co.uk.
Okay. And are you on Twitter?
Twitter, yes, Marianne Page 7. Marianne Page 07, sorry, I always forget the O.
Oh God, so they can see if we can get you some followers as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Marianne, thank you so much. Even though you made me bare my naughty soul and tells a few of my little stuff. I'm supposed to be so efficient with my little secrets, but no, it's been brilliant, and I've learned quite a bit myself, which I knew I would. And so no doubt other people have as well. So thank you so much for your time.
No problem at all. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
And you've shown processes can be fun because you're one of the most bubbly processes people I have ever known. So
they have to be. They have to be.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, Georgette. Have a great day.
And what about you? Are you facing any issues in your business? Any financial or productivity issues? You are more than welcome to contact me and see if we can get you sorted out. Email me at feedback@firmerfigures.com. For the links to any of the resources I've mentioned, go over to financialgymforbusiness.com/podcast, where you'll find them in the show notes. If this was useful to you, please would you consider going over to iTunes if you're an Apple user, or Stitcher if you're an Android user, and give me a rate and review. I love bringing information to you and would really love to know if this is helping. Every 5-star rating that I get not only tells me that I'm not just talking to myself, it also tells iTunes and Stitcher. That way, when people are searching for a show like mine, I'll show up. Full step-by-step instructions on how to do this can be found at my site, financialgymforbusiness.com/podcast. And if you have a website, blog, podcast, or business that you want mentioned, leave the details and I'll give you a shout out. And if you don't want to have to remember when I'm on next, just click the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening in on so that you get notified. In fact, if you haven't done it already, why not do it now? Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.
Firmer figures knows your money, cuts down on strife. Time to trust your future. Firmer figures, love your life.